There's so much wrong in this world today. We live in a world where no one truly cares for their fellow man. People hating each other just for the color of their skin. Lying, cheating, stealing, and killing. In our churches and homes, they're broken. It's time to reset, regroup, and refocus.
Change your mind. Look at the man beside the mirror. Change gotta start within. Change your mind. Change your mind. Look at the man beside the mirror. Change gotta start within. Reset, regroup, refocus. Change your mindset. Change gotta start within. Reset, regroup, refocus. Change your mindset.
Hello. How you doing on tonight? I'm Dr. Arlene A. Fuller. Hope y'all can hear me well. Man, welcome on tonight. Please tag and share. We want you to invite some other people to come on, and we're going to tell you what we're all about. And if you have any questions, you can text it in the chat box. Come on, tag and share. Okay, welcome to our group, Overcoming Trauma. So Overcoming Trauma, I founded this probably about 2 years and something ago. And that is part of my life coaching concept that I have, which I help people to overcome trauma, which is an acronym. It stands for tragedies and rejection that leads to anger and unforgiveness, causes mental illness and abuse. So all that go hands in hand. And because I am, a leader, I've been in the church. We were born in the church, I'm a leader and stuff. And I've been through a lot of situations through the church. I've been damaged through the church. I've been into domestic violence relationships. So all that I went through, it kind of kind of messed me up, basically. And so I was trying to find out what was the root cause of why I always attracted people that was messed up, people that was broken, people that would hurt me. Even in the church, they will hurt you, different things like that. So I wondered what was going on. So what I had to do was I had to go to the root cause of everything. And the root cause was trauma that stemmed from my childhood. I was molested at a young age, and I went through different things, different little things we all go through in the home. And so that may not seem like nothing major, but it's major to a child. And each child, they have their own perception of what, they experience in the home. And so even though it might be 5 siblings in the house, they all have their own separate experiences. And so we want to focus on helping people that was affected by, trauma, and that messed them up in relationships. You choose the wrong mate. You don't know how to talk to your mate. And it's on both sides, both women and men. And we have, men get abused too, even though they don't like to talk about it. A lot of men get abused by their wife or their significant other as well. They get abused. And so we want to focus on why a man abuses a woman. Because a lot of times men abuse a woman, and they do. And a lot of times it stems from them being hurt and need to be healed themselves. So we don't understand the effects of trauma on your health. Trauma, it affects your health And there are many, many, many illnesses that's caused by trauma. A growing body of research shows that experiencing traumatic events increases an individual's risk of long-term physical and behavioral health issues. So because you're being you traumatized a lot, so it affects your physical health and also your mental health. So that's why you see a lot of people depressed, a lot of people on different medications because of them going through trauma. As healthcare providers and policymakers begin to understand these connections, trauma-informed approaches to care are being adopted as a crucial aspect of high-quality healthcare in hopes of improving patient engagement and outcomes by lowering costs. What is trauma? Trauma results from exposure to an incident or a series of events. So trauma results from exposure to an incident or a series of events that is emotionally disturbing or life-threatening. So how many of y'all on tonight has been through some type of trauma? Type it in the chat box what you have been through and if you need some help in overcoming it. The first key to our breakthrough is admit that we have a problem and ask for help. And that's what we need to do. Trauma results from exposure to an incident or series of events that is emotionally disturbing or life-threatening. Examples of events that may be traumatic include, I want y'all to listen and let me know if you can relate to this. Sometimes, I know we be on here, we don't want to talk on here because this is a public space. But what I'm going to be doing, we're going to be creating different rooms inside of this one group. We're going to have a room for men. I'm going to be mentoring men because a lot of men, they really need assistance. I mentor a lot of men. I've been mentoring men since I can remember. I've helped men get out of gangs, help them, find jobs and help them get healed from trauma, help them to, get healed from domestic violence and stuff. So physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. That's part of trauma. Physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. So if somebody call you names, that's what? Emotional abuse. If your spouse, significant other calls you names. Not only that, your parents can call you names too. I know many of us have experienced our parents calling us names or different people saying stuff like, oh, you remind me of your daddy or you remind me of your father. But they are mad at that person. They hate that person. So that messes us up mentally. Childhood neglect, having a family member with a mental health or substance use disorder, violence in the community. Oh. Violence in the community. Because you see a lot of violence in the community, especially now too, we have the coronavirus and stuff going on, COVID-19, all that leads to trauma. Because a lot of people, they're scared to go outside, they're scared they're going to get the coronavirus and they're going to die because, they fear. Natural or human-made disasters and forced displacement. Natural or human-made disasters and forced displacement, like an earthquake, hurricane, all that causes us to be traumatized. Sudden unexplained separation from a loved one. So when you are separated from a loved one, like if your spouse leave you, or your spouse die, your significant other die, your child, or your mom, or your parent, it's something sudden, unexplained separation from a loved one. Poverty and discrimination also is a type of trauma. So we need to be healed from trauma. Now, please share, please. We need to be healed from trauma. And make sure I want everybody on here to go inside the page and every day just invite maybe 50 to 100 of your friends. Just invite them to the page because we need more people to get healed from trauma. We got books that's getting ready to come out. I have my own coaching system called the Fuller Life System. And with the Fuller Life System, we get down to the root of the problem. Because just like you can get an axe and put an axe to the tree and cut the tree down. but the root is still there. And if the root, like if the tree is like a sycamore tree, that root go all the way down, it can go a long ways. And so we have to get to the root of the problem. Sometimes we think we are healed, but it can be something deep, deep down in us that we don't forgot about, and something will trigger it. Something will trigger it, and we'll start acting up and start crying. We start feeling some type of way. So we want to get to the root cause, and we want to uh any anything that's triggering, that we want to get rid of that as well. Trauma overwhelms a person's coping capacity. When you go through a lot of trauma, it's hard for you to go to cope. Um, we recommend everybody to have a therapist, everybody to have your counselor, everybody to have a coach. And all three of those are different. Like with me, I'm a counselor and I am a coach. I have a doctorate in counseling for the Christian counseling, but I'm actually a life coach and a master life coach. And what we do is we help steer you in the right path. And you make your own decisions. We help you to get free. We help you to walk in forgiveness. We have to walk in forgiveness. We got to forgive others, and we have to walk in forgiveness. And all that is a part of being healed from trauma. Because in order to heal from trauma, we have to change, and change is necessary for growth. And a lot of times we hate change because we're comfortable with the familiar. Um, Trauma overwhelms a person's coping capacity and has long-term effects on functioning and well-being. Normal protective responses to threats, fight, flight, or freeze are activated regardless of whether these threats are real or perceived. So, in your mind, a lot of times you have a panic attack. You will fight, you will flight, or you will freeze. Okay? So those are, what we do when we are in a situation, whether it's in our mind or it's going on for real. A person who has experienced trauma may continue to experience this defensive response, even in situations that are not threatening. Sometimes y'all might be talking to somebody, could be somebody you know, could be somebody at the grocery store, could be a cashier, and for no reason they attack you. And what I do is I look at them and I look into their eyes and I can see that trauma. I can see that hurt and that pain. And because I'm a prophet, I'm very prophetic. I'll just say something, and I can say things in a way, and you're like, oh my God, you're talking to me. That's something I went through. And I can just be telling the story. And as I tell the story, it's for them. And God started bringing them around. I have a lot of wisdom, so I have a way of reaching people, and they don't even know I'm reaching them. Yeah, please share, y'all. Please share. We gotta reach these people. We gotta reach these people. I'm telling you, people need to be healed. They need to be healed from their trauma. Not all children or adults who are exposed to potentially traumatic events experience long-term health problems. Now, not all people experience long-term health problems, but a lot of them do. This may be due to protective factors which help shield individuals from the lasting effects of trauma. Protective factors include parental knowledge of child development, healthy parent-child attachment, social connections, and social and emotional competence. So even though your child could be exposed to trauma in the home, they can see you being abused. They can see you being stumped and kicked down. See, my kids experienced that. And all three of my children have trauma in a different way. They have it in a different way, and it's terrible. It gets terrible at times. And a lot of times it triggered my PTSD because I had PTSD, which came from, any type of traumatic events, not just the military, but being in a domestic violence, and then when you have people just saying things and yelling and all that, I can't stand all that. I cannot. And so all that yelling, that would trigger, because that's a trigger from the past. And so what I do is I avoid people. I avoid being around different places that would trigger me, And so we all need to be healed from this trauma. So if you have children, and make sure your child have a coach, and make sure you take your child to counseling. Make sure you talk to your child. Make sure they're not being molested. Make sure you watch your kids, because we have found out that a majority of kids doing way back then was being molested, and the parents would tell them, shut up, don't tell nobody, be quiet, and that messed them up as they grew up. Anybody have any questions? You have any questions? Type it in the chat box, please. I'm just introducing myself and letting y'all know we're gonna have different groups in here. Different groups gonna set up. We have Jessica on here and Dr. Lagila Johnson, and we're gonna set up different groups, and in those groups it will be private, where nobody won't see it. Everybody on Facebook won't be able to view it, and we can go in there, and we're gonna have one just for the men, and the men can come in there and they can just cry. You know, you're not gonna go in and tell somebody, "Oh, this man was on here and he was crying." Well, no, you gonna be in your house anyway. We can't see you anyway, but you gonna be in your house and you gonna be crying. I'm telling you, you gonna get free, because there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong, because we gotta free ourselves. If we hold everything in, we're gonna explode one day. I know we all know some people that everybody knows somebody that's real quiet, but then there's a certain time they explode. They explode because they don't talk too much. They can't take anymore. Um, Two major studies of adverse childhood experience, which is the ACE test, provide a glimpse into the prevalence of childhood trauma. Somebody is calling me and I'm on live. I tell you, they're calling me from the live. Oh, Jesus. Hallelujah. But anyway, so go and take the ACE test. If you haven't taken the ACE test, go take the ACE test. Go to my website. We have a website, transformed with ED, TRANSFORMED, transform to your fullerlife.org. Go on there, and we have under services, you scroll down, you will see the ACE test under there. Click that and take that test. And that test will tell you a whole lot about what you have experienced as a child. So if you have any topics you would like for us to discuss, please send a message to me at info@overcomingtrauma.global, because this is for everybody all around the world. How does exposure to trauma affect an individual's health? Exposure to trauma, listen at this, it can cause chronic lung and heart disease, liver disease. It can cause viral hepatitis and liver cancer. I didn't know that, did y'all? That trauma can cause liver cancer and viral diseases like hepatitis, autoimmune disease like lupus, and what's another one? Autoimmune disease, sexually transmitted infections, and depressions or other mental health conditions. Now, how can trauma cause sexually transmitted infections? That's something right there we need to research, right? We need to research that one. But how does exposure to trauma affect an individual's health? A growing body of research is uncovering a link between traumatic childhood experiences and a greater chance of physical and behavioral health problems in adulthood. Do you know that if you having pain in your knees, you have arthritis, it could be trauma. It could be something trapping you. It could be some pain from being rejected, pain from being, going through stress. All that causes chronic pain, like in your knees, your joints, and can cause migraines. I used to have migraines for, oh Lord, probably about 35, 40 years. I had migraines. About 40 years. I had it from childhood all the way till when I got divorced in 2008. And probably about 2009, 2010, my mama said one day, she said, Arlene, you hadn't been to the emergency room to get any shots. And this is when I realized that I was having no migraines. And guess what? I had got divorced and I had never got back married to nobody, ever. But God healed me because what happened was He started healing me from the inside to the outside. So I looked at myself and said, why am I attracting people that hurt me? Not just in relationships, but in any type of relationship, business relationship, personal relationship, church. You'll do me all kind of. I was just sit there, cry, they allow me. I sit there, wouldn't even talk back, wouldn't even fight at all. But it made me somebody different now. Um, how does childhood trauma affect neurobiology? Okay, before age 5, children's brains are in a critical period of development. So positive experiences can lead to healthy brain development. So make sure you give your children, even though you might just experience positive experiences before 5, make sure, I see Nikhil on here, make sure you lead to healthy brain development by being positive and having a positive experience, like taking your child to Disney World. Start taking them out at a young age. Take them out to Chuck E. Cheese somewhere. Do some little positive, fun things with your children. Don't let your child see you arguing, you and your husband, your wife, whoever. Don't let them see you arguing. Don't let them hear it. Don't let them see, I'm telling you, they will know. Them kids, you cannot hide them from a child. And if you marry and you say, well, we don't get along, but we're going to get divorced when the child grow up and become 18, no, you might as well go ahead and leave now. Because that child going to tell you later, it was you had been left. That's what they would say. Um, while negative experiences can promote unhealthy development, so the child needs to have a lot of positive things before the age of 5, because before the age of 5, the children's brains are in a critical period of development. A lot of times, if you've been molested, you don't even remember from the age of 5 on back. You don't even remember that. You forgot it. Prolonged trauma can decrease the volume of areas of the brain responsible for cognitive functions such as short-term memory, emotional regulation, and high cognitive function. So when you go through a lot of trauma, it can decrease the volume of areas of the brain. Do you know when I was 31 years old, I had something that was in my brain that it started eating away at my brain. I was going through so much stress. The doctor gave me 6 months to live because my brain was just rapidly, just something just, it had atrophy. It was gone. It was disappearing. But God healed me. Which populations are more at risk for experiencing trauma? Members of historically marginalized populations appear to have a disproportionately higher prevalence of trauma in ACEs than the general population. These groups include, but are not limited to, people living in low-income communities, ethnic and racial minorities, LGBTQ individuals, individuals with disabilities, and women and girls. Children with trauma exposure often develop coping mechanisms to help alleviate the hurt they feel as a result of trauma. Sometimes these strategies involve into health risk behavior. For example, they start eating unhealthy food or overeating. They start using tobacco or start using drug and alcohol at an early age. Children, young children, 8, 9 years old, using alcohol, um, smoking, trying to cope. When childhood traumatic stress goes untreated, these coping mechanisms can contribute to anxiety, social isolation, or chronic disease. Anybody have any questions? Please share. So we need some topics. We need some topics that if y'all can help us out, tell us what y'all want us to talk about. Those that listen to it now, those that listen to it on the replay, please send us a message letting us know what topic that you would like to see in this discussions. We're gonna have different rooms and we will be discussing it. We will also have coaching, group coaching as well. We offer that as well. Okay, so we thank y'all for tonight, for being on tonight. And we're talking about the effects of trauma on your health. And this group is for overcoming trauma. And we want to reach the women and the men. We want to heal everybody. We want to wonder why you can't cry, why because a lot of times, especially as men, you may feel like, oh, I'm not gonna cry because they say boys don't cry and stuff like that. And people say stuff like sticks and stones, but it break my bones or words won't hurt me. Some of the things people say when you've been young, some words do hurt you. A lot of us been teased. We've been through a lot. So if you can tell me some things that we need, some topics, we need to talk about. Forgiveness and walking in unforgiveness is one of them. We got to forgive others. Forgive those that hurt us. Some of them might be dead, but we got to forgive them. And we did things to the people as well. So it's different things that we can talk about. And so just give us some suggestions, okay? And we want y'all to be active with the page. And we put a post up. I got a post on there right now. And in the post, I shown a red ring, say for better or worse. I want everybody to respond to that post. We got to interact and we got to reach more people. One person at a time. We got to reach the people. In May, it should be by May. Everything should be out with our materials, our training manuals, and our life coach concept. So with that being all, we will see you next time, and goodbye for now.